What's up, everybody? I'm Garen, and this is CitizenDiplomacy.net. I'm on a mission to talk to one person from every country in the world, and today we're talking to Irshad from Pakistan. I was reading the news online, and there was like a little photo essay about Pakistan, and it was really well done, really informative. So I emailed the author, and I said, hey, obviously you've spent a lot of time in Pakistan. Could you recommend somebody for me that would be like a good ambassador of Pakistan? And he got back to me right away and said, you have to talk to Irshad Ulu Khan. If your thing is citizen diplomacy, this is like Pakistan's #1 citizen diplomat. And I'm totally glad that he gave me that name because A, he was right, and B, this was just a great conversation. This is one of those conversations where for like the rest of the day, you just feel good, you know, and uplifting. And it's like a very energizing conversation. Super cool guy. So I'm really excited to get to share my conversation with you today with Irshad from Pakistan.
There we go. Is that all right?
Yeah, that's great.
Good.
Yeah, I'd like people to be able to see your face.
Okay. Right. So now we can talk, and you can see me, so I know how to do it now on my iPad.
Yeah, great. And then just
Yes.
one request, if you could put your face kind of in the middle, and then when my video splices them together, then we can see that your full face, so it won't get cut off.
Okay. Am I in the middle now?
No, you're over on the side, so if you could adjust it just a little bit.
Okay. Let's see.
There you go.
One second. Let me get something else here. I'll hold it against the computer, which might be easier. Am I now more in the middle?
Yeah, just like that. That's perfect.
Okay, good.
Great. So how are you doing today, sir?
Very well. And how are you keeping?
Oh, I'm doing great. So I had emailed Richard Leby, and I
Yes.
just told him my idea. You know, I want to talk to one person from every country in the world, and I asked him if he knew any Pakistanis that I should interview. And he said,
Right.
oh, you have to interview Irshad Ullah Khan. He said he's a real Pakistani. You know, he loves his country. He's a real citizen diplomat. So I started Googling you, and I was so excited. I was like, yes, this is the kind of person that I want to talk to. So I'm really excited to ask you some questions today.
Sure, sure.
So,
It's a pleasure.
you know, I just want to, you know, for people who don't know very much about Pakistan or have never met anybody from Pakistan, which I think almost all Americans fall in that category.
Yes.
I just want to give people some insight about, you know, what Pakistan is really like and what Pakistani people are like. So maybe the first question I'd like to ask is, I heard you say that, you know, you could live anywhere in the world. You know, you had a chance to stay in England when you were at Oxford, and you
Yes.
lived in Singapore, but, you know, it's really important for you that you live in Pakistan. And you talked about how a big part of that was, you know, that you were born and raised there, and you went to school there, and you were a young man there. So I was wondering if you had any stories, maybe from your childhood or some, you know, fond memories from your upbringing that you would share with people, you know, where your love for your country comes from.
Well, basically, I grew up in Lahore, which is the cultural center of Pakistan and the spiritual center of Pakistan, but spiritual in the correct sense of the word.
Mm-hmm.
I went to a Roman Catholic school, and I was taught by Irish priests with green sashes around their waists.
Uh-huh.
And so if you didn't remember your Acts of the Apostles in the morning, it was the worst, I think, than a madrasa, because the cane would be out.
Mm-hmm.
So I had a great education, and in this Roman Catholic institution. And then I went to college in Lahore, and school and college in Lahore, and I enjoyed my college very much. I got the Rhodes Scholarship from there for Oxford. I went to Oxford. But what I loved about Lahore were its famous shrine called Data Sahib Darbar, or Data Ganj Baksh, who was a great Sufi master
Mm-hmm.
who came to this part of the world and preached peace, total peace for everyone. It did not matter which religion they belonged to, but he wished everyone peace. And he said the meaning of Islam is peace. And that is, we must never try and force our views on anyone else belonging to a different religion, because what's written in the Holy Quran is this, that let those who follow other religions follow their religions, and you follow your own, but never tamper with the spiritual beliefs of other people.
Mm.
That's what the Sufi saint Dada Sahib preached in Lahore, and that made a big impact on me in my upbringing. I used to go there quite a lot to the shrine.
Uh-huh. Neat. Well, that's just really cool to hear. You know, I feel like we don't have a lot of, you know, positive interaction with the Muslim world. You know, for us, you
Yes.
know, we just hear about extremism and terrorism. It's so neat, you know, to hear you talk about, you know, like you said, true spirituality, and that you went to a Roman Catholic school, and that didn't present any kind of duality or, you know, conflict, and that's just really neat.
Actually, I have read most of the religions of the world, and they all point to God. And in our religion, you know, if one reads the Holy Quran, the Jews are mentioned more than any other people,
Mm-hmm.
as the people of God. And then I think after the Jews come the Christians. So we were told in the Holy Quran to regard Jews and Christians as people of the book,
Mm.
that God gave them the book. And then Moses gave the book, the Torah. Of course, later on in Christianity, the Bible came. And then we got the book from God, which we call the Holy Quran.
Mm-hmm.
And we are taught to respect other religions, to love other religions,
Mm-hmm.
and not fight with people who belong to different faiths.
Yeah. I said the same thing just a while back. I was talking to somebody and I said, you know, we all believe in the God of David, right?
That's right.
And
That's
we might differ on what that means exactly, but we have a lot more in common than we do different. So why do we only focus on the differences, you know?
yes, 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 exactly, exactly.
Yeah. Well, so you also talked about not just the country itself as far as the territory, but you talked about the people, that, you know, that was, you know, your country was the people.
Yes.
What is it about the Pakistani people that, you know, you love so much, and maybe what are some important, you know, unique things that people should know about Pakistani people?
I think one is the generosity.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Even if a man is very, very poor, and if you are passing by him, he'll offer you a cup of tea or something. He'll share whatever he's got.
Uh-huh.
And that's a wonderful feeling here. And a lot of my friends here who are from different parts of the world, particularly, you know, I have a lot of friends here from various countries who are ambassadors and high commissioners here,
Mm-hmm.
or working in missions, or who have come here on contracts to work on large projects. And what they mention, many of them stay on in the country, what they mention, all of them, what they mention is this, that what we love about the people of Pakistan is their friendliness and their generosity,
Mm.
and that they are very welcoming.
Uh-huh.
Now, we are talking about this, about a larger part of the population. There is, of course, a fringe group who want to destroy all that. And I think in the end, that fringe group will be defeated.
Is that, you know, I don't know a lot about Pakistan, and I wouldn't say that probably what I hear on TV or in the news is, you know, the most accurate version of the truth, but you know, is that a big part of your politics? Like you're talking about the, you know, the fringe group versus the majority, you know, are there kind of contentious politics like that going on right now?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. We are in a very, very important phase of our country right now.
Mm-hmm.
We have to decide our future. We may have to face a civil war in order to ensure that Pakistan returns to the secular basis on which it was found by the founder of the nation, Jinnah. That we have to be sure that, of course, we are an Islamic nation and we believe in Islam and we practice Islam, and that is my faith too. But we also have to believe in the fact that everyone has the right to practice his own religion.
Mm-hmm.
And we do not need to see the kind of turmoil that has been going on here since that very terrible event of 9/11,
Mm-hmm.
which was totally evil in nature and satanic in nature. And what we need to do is to cure this country of those people who have those kind of thoughts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Man. It's interesting to, I wonder what kind of parallels there are with America, because some of the things that you just said, I feel that way about my own country too, about how our future is very uncertain,
Yes.
And there's, kind of two people that want our country to go in very different directions. I don't know if it's as dire as, what you're talking about in Pakistan, but a lot of people talk about some of those same issues here about, I don't want to say the word revolution, but, one side that wants to assert their vision for the future so strongly, and, I wonder how our politics are linked too, how, I don't know, what, is America playing a role in what's happening in Pakistan right now?
Well, America has been a very close friend for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
We have very special relations with America. But what happened after 9/11 was perhaps a mistake, because they went into Afghanistan, which they should never have gone into.
Mm-hmm.
They know the history of Afghanistan, and they have never been defeated, the Afghanis.
Mm-hmm.
And historically, they have always, in the end, triumphed.
Mm-hmm.
And there was no need to go into Afghanistan. The right way would have been to knock out those guys who had to be knocked out, but silently, without large force. And it could have been done. The right way would have been to get the Pakistani army totally involved in this kind of operation and take care of the situation. Instead, what happened was that we have a population of 180 million people, and if I'm not wrong, probably the fourth or the fifth largest army in the world,
Mm-hmm.
and a very, very organized army, highly trained by under a lot of our officers have been trained in England. A lot of our officers have been trained in the United States.
Mm-hmm.
So they are very open, they're open-minded. And the mistake that was made was this, that we should have had Pakistan take care of that situation.
Mm.
Instead of spending more than $30 billion a year, $30 billion plus a month,
Mm-hmm.
$30 billion plus a month in Afghanistan. They should have put in some money here in Pakistan, and this problem would have been sorted out a long time ago without loss to very precious American lives. And the whole trauma, so many people, young soldiers who came from America, have had to go through here for no reason at all.
Mm-hmm.
They should not have been subjected to it. It was a wrong decision, hasty decision, ill-conceived decision. And now we're seeing the results of that decision, you see?
Yeah.
With the result that, the size of the enemy has grown bigger instead of getting smaller.
Mm-hmm.
And this was sad. This was sad.
Yeah, for
Very.
sure.
And I love America because I came there for the first time in 1975,
Mm-hmm.
and I was a very young guest of Tip O'Neill, who was quite a man, I visited your house in Washington, D.C., and I was his guest there. And I used to represent a lot of American companies. I'm still working with a lot of American companies.
Mm-hmm.
And I have some of my very best friends living in New York and Washington, D.C., and other places in the States. And I think you have a beautiful and great country, and good people. It's a nation where people speak their minds. They're not hypocritical. They say what they want to say, and they're not afraid to say what they want to say.
Mm-hmm.
It's because of your democracy. And this is something which America can really, but America has done it. It is set as an example all over the world. It's democracy. There's no doubt about that. But this aspect of caring and love, which America really is all about, this was lost in those 11 years.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That image was lost.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, the same happened in Iraq, where you take out one bad man, but then you create thousands of other bad men.
Mm-hmm.
And so many lives, American lives, lost again without good reason, you see?
Yeah, exactly.
Because the country now is in worse situation than it was before.
Mm-hmm.
You have these terrorists, they're running wild all over the place, and pillaging and murdering and rampaging the country. And all this could have been avoided. I feel that America should come back to what it is, a great leader,
Yeah.
a caring leader.
Mm-hmm.
It's the only superpower in the world today. So it has to come back into that image which always existed before.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I couldn't agree more.
Yes.
That's one of the big reasons why I'm doing this project, is because I feel like like you said, over the last 11 years, our entire mindset, the way that we look at the world, has been completely hijacked by terrorism.
Exactly.
And just like you said, the lens through which we see the entire world is just terrorism. Are they our friends, our enemies, good guys, bad guys? And sometimes we need to make these really difficult decisions, but we have to. It might be ugly, but we have to do it because of terrorism.
Yes.
Where's it gotten us? We have these two failed wars, like you said. We have broken people here, broken people over there, strained relationships. And look, we're more entrenched in this philosophy than we ever have been before. Rather than taking a step back and analyzing, are we more safe now? Is the world in a better place? Or is the blowback from these situations making us more at risk than ever, making your country more at risk than ever? And over the last few weeks, the subject of drone strikes in Pakistan have been a really big issue. And
Yes.
you can tell me what you think, but I always tell people, what's good for other people is what's good for us too, and not
Yes.
just like in a hippie sense, but
Yes,
like you
yes.
said, our policies are making more terrorists in those countries, making us less safe. So everybody loses. We just need to get to a place where, you mentioned about how it's the minority, that are the extreme voices, and that you need to,
Take care of them.
yeah. And I feel
And
like,
and-
yeah, exactly. And right now we let the minority speak for everybody.
That's
And
right.
we need to say, look, you only represent 1%, so we're not going to let you dictate the rest of us. We're going to let the 99% speak to each other.
Yes. And this is what's happening in Pakistan. The 90% of the population, 90% of the population, which does not believe in that kind of Hitlerian extremism and murderous thinking, satanic thinking. Now, 90% of the population is now reacting very strongly to that.
Mm-hmm.
Very strongly to that. We have come to that point. And you'll see, this is, as I said to you earlier, this is a turning point for us. You'll see that in the next 2 or 3 years, a lot is going to be done to rectify the situation.
Mm-hmm.
And to bring Pakistan safe home where it should be.
Yeah. Well, this website and this project is my very small contribution to peace, and sanity. But what what if anything, I really believe in the power of just common people to, rather than let our government speak for us, we finally have the technology where we can get involved ourselves. So is there anything that, that people watching this, just regular Americans or people in other places, could do to, help improve things in Pakistan?
I think so. I think a large part of your population of your beautiful country are really not aware of the true facts of Pakistan or about the people of Pakistan. They see on CNN or on Fox News or on BBC an explosion somewhere. And they think these explosions are going all over the country. They don't realize that these are in very small places. This is a large country. Number of European countries can fit into Pakistan.
Yeah.
But on television, it appears so small because of the constraints of the television.
Yeah.
So they think the whole country is on fire, where the whole country is not on fire. If they come here, like my friends come here to Pakistan, a lot of my American friends and European friends, they come here and meet me in Pakistan, and they go all over the place. They go to all the sites, the beautiful sites to visit. They go to all the heritage areas and the ancient civilization spots to visit, and they go back very happily, without being harmed at all. You do, of course, get a stray case or the other of people who have gone into unwanted areas. Like in the 1990s, for example, I lived in Washington, D.C. for about almost 4 years in the early 90s. And at that time, Brooklyn was not supposed to be a safe area, whereas now it's changed completely. It's a very safe area. Property has really gone up there. So what I'm saying is this: anywhere in the world, you have to think before you go, before you enter the country. There are parts of Washington, D.C. today where I have been told by my friends that don't wander there in the evening. Safe. And so I don't. But what happens sometimes is this, that unfortunately some people come and try to be adventurous, and that they shouldn't do.
Yeah. Yeah, and I totally agree. I hear people say that all the time, oh, well, didn't you hear about this incident? Or like you said, a certain area, it's dangerous here. And I say, there's places in my own city where I don't go, like you said, late at night. Why the fact that there's some dangerous areas, why do you put the entire country in that same box? Like you said, Pakistan's one of the biggest, most populated countries in the entire world, and you're willing to take one isolated incident and then with a broad stroke paint the whole country.
Yes, that is very unfortunate.
Yeah.
That is what I was I was invited by the Canadian Pakistan Chamber of Commerce to speak in Toronto. And this was held at the Fairmont Hotel in Toronto. And it was a large group of people who turned out, including a lot of ministers from the Canadian government. And I spoke basically what we're discussing today, that come and invest. See for yourself the opportunities we've got. We are one of the richest countries in the world in minerals. We have got great deposits of shale gas. We have got great deposits of oil and gas, and they have not been explored. We have got, Australians have done surveys in our country through AusAid, which is equivalent to USAID, and they have produced a report which says Pakistan is one of the richest countries in the world in gold, copper, and silver. And we have gemstones of all kinds, which could form a very lucrative market. We have got one of the largest coastlines in the world for deep-sea fishing. But all this is ignored or mainly unknown. This is what I think the world must start to understand and see, that here is a country, let us not neglect it. Now it's fighting a war in which it has lost more than 5,000 of its army officers and soldiers. It's lost 50,000 of its, plus 50,000 of its citizens. And it's going up every day. So let's let's back this country to finish those people off who are trying to fight us.
Mm-hmm. You know, just like what you were saying before, I always tell people, you know, America, like you said, America has these very high ideals
Yes,
of, like you said, love and peace and democracy and freedom.
yes.
And we're
And,
not championing, what's that?
and belief in God.
Mm-hmm. And we don't champion those the same that we
Yes,
did before. But
yes,
just like
yes.
you're saying, what would happen in you know in a lot of these places that we're involved in militarily, you know, it's kind of debatable what the impact is and the vision of our ideals that we're portraying to people.
Yes,
What and you know what we need to do is give people opportunities where they're not going to choose extremism. You know,
that's
if
right.
I tell people, you know, nobody wants violence and hate and extremism. A lot of
Yes.
people are just pushed towards it because they don't have jobs or opportunities or health or whatever it is. So, what would happen in a place like Pakistan where instead of the only thing that we hear is drone strikes? What if we had entrepreneurs that went there, and like you said, started businesses and made
Exactly.
money and created
Exactly.
jobs? And you know,
Yes.
we'd be making money. People would have opportunities there. Everybody wins. You know,
Yes.
we should
Yeah.
send business people, not soldiers.
This is what should be done because poverty is the worst thing that can exist in any country in the world.
Hmm.
The poor are vulnerable. Yes.
Hmm.
If they have no food to eat, if they see their family starving, they can then be bought over.
Hmm.
And there are cases where parents, so that the rest of the family, and families here tend to be large, can live, have sold their son for about $10,000
Hmm.
so that he goes and kills people,
Hmm.
becomes a suicide bomber. Now, you see, if we took care of what you said just now, of these kind of people who are very poor, created jobs for them, gave them a chance to come back into what can be a human way of living, the scenario can change very quickly.
Hmm.
Give you an example. There was a lady called Sharifa Bibi. Bibi means a lady.
Okay.
Sharifa Bibi. And she had 3 children, and her husband was in and out of jobs, so she could not support them. She took a job so that she could earn a living. But with 3 children running around, all very small, one only about 11 months old, and the others ranging between 2 and 5, she couldn't work. You see, so the lady of the house said, "Look, I'm sorry, but we can't pay you anything because you really have to take care of your children." So she went to her mother-in-law and she said, "Look, I've come to the point where I cannot take it anymore and I'm going to kill myself and the children." And her mother-in-law said, "Don't do this. Believe in God and things will change." But of course, unfortunately, her mind and soul had been broken. And the next day, she went with her 3 children and she stood before an oncoming train,
Mm.
and they were all killed. So, what I'm saying is this, that when these kinds of levels of poverty are there, if we can change this scenario with all the tremendous resources that we have in Pakistan, by foreign entrepreneurs taking advantage of that, then a large segment of the population will become free.
Hmm.
And that's what we need to do.
Exactly. And the thing that people need to realize too is that for us, I don't know how to say this without sounding too weird, but we we like to think that there's people who are inherently evil in the world
Yes.
because we know that we're not them, so that we know we're the good guys. If there's bad guys, then we're the good guys. You know that you need to always have that juxtaposition.
Sure, sure.
So for us, it's kind of easy to just draw the line and go, okay, they're bad, we're good, and then even if that creates some tensions, at least we know what side we're on. But like I said, nobody like that lady, she didn't want that. She doesn't want poverty. She doesn't want hatred. Even the people who, like you said, are fighting, they don't want conflict and they don't want to be in those positions. So, yeah, if we just gave people those opportunities, and the thing too is that it's not altruistic. Like, you have been involved in a lot of the industries that you're talking about, and you've
Yes.
become very wealthy because of it, and you've been very successful.
Yes.
And that's how business really works. You didn't have to do it all just altruistically with no hopes for any reward. You
Yes.
have a gain from it, but it's not a selfish or a greedy thing. You've bettered your
Exactly.
country. The rising tide raises all ships.
That's right. And creating jobs and opportunities for people who don't have those opportunities.
Mm-hmm.
Like recently, they call North Waziristan the most dangerous place in the world. But the Maliks and the Maulanas of North Waziristan, they came to see me in Islamabad, and they said that, look, we have no electricity, we have no clean water, we have no medicines in a hospital, don't have proper schools, and we are treated like gun fodder. When the Russians were to be defeated, we were asked to fight them, and then we were forgotten. So I told them, okay, look, tomorrow I'm sending you a truck of solar lights for your homes. And then I combined with the Argentinian ambassador to give them clean water tablets for a large segment of the population. Then I combined with the German ambassador to make their hospital, Mirinshah Hospital in North Waziristan, supposed to be the most dangerous place in the world, Mirinshah Hospital, solar, which used to get 10 to 15 minutes of electricity during the 24 hours. So children who were born premature would die because the incubators wouldn't work.
Mm-hmm.
Women giving childbirth, many of them would die because they were given childbirth under candlelight. Operations would fail because they were being operated under candlelight. And now suddenly there was light.
Uh-huh.
And clean water. And, the schools had light. Part of the schools had light. And, all the waziris, supposed to be the most dangerous people in the world, but all the waziris collected in a huge crowd, assembled in a very large number to pray for me, for what I had done.
Cool.
And, and what I'm saying is, if you give love to people, if you help people, they respond not by throwing a bomb at you, but by protecting your life.
Yeah. I can't tell you how excited that story makes me, because just a couple weeks ago I was telling somebody, I read the statistic that in the Northwest Territories in Pakistan,
yes,
there's something crazy like one doctor for every 10,000 people.
Yes.
Something crazy like that.
Yes.
So I said, what would it do to curb terrorism if instead of drones we sent doctors?
Yes.
If you sent a doctor into one of these villages, they would love America forever. And the person I said this to said, "Oh, good luck. Just send a doctor over there and see what happens." They would kill him and they would run him out of town and all this stuff. You did that exact thing, and they came out in mass and prayed for you.
That's right. And we have got DVDs, which we circulated then to our friends. And one day, I hope when we meet, I'll give you a copy of the DVD, which showed the whole thing being done. And the warmth they showed for us, the love they showed for us. When no one tried to kill us. Instead, we finished the work, they were praying for us.
Wow, that's so cool.
Yes.
And, it's just the power of action. It's easy to sit on your couch and to say, oh, this wouldn't work because of this reason, or these people are this way, and just to criticize. And then you act, you get involved, and boom, you see the product of your action. It's positive.
Yes, very positive. And do you realize that since 1947, when Pakistan was found, since 1947, this is the first time someone has done something for them. Isn't that a shame?
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
So,
and we're going to do a lot more. We're going to do a lot to help them.
So right now in America, our economy is changing so dramatically, and there's a lot of young people who, like me personally. So I went to college, I got my degree,
Sure.
and then I went and got my MBA.
Right.
And up until right now, that was kind of the blueprint for success. You go to college, you get a degree. If you can get a master's,
Sure.
great. Then you get a good job. Well, all of a sudden, we have all these young people now, like me, who have degrees, even advanced degrees, and it doesn't do the same thing that it used to. We have
Yes.
massive unemployment for young people,
Yes.
and a lot of young people are turning to entrepreneurship. They're saying, well, I'm not going to wait for somebody to pick me. I'm going to pick myself, start a business.
Exactly.
So that was kind of your story.
Yes.
You are a self-made man. So I was wondering maybe if just in general you had any kind of, entrepreneurial advice, but specifically, and how it relates to this conversation, if you were to speak to some entrepreneurial people in America or in other places, how would Pakistan tie into that? Would there be a way for young entrepreneurial people to be involved in Pakistan and not
Oh, yes.
altruistically, but to find, their own success there?
Yes, yes. I think it is very much there. For example, there are so many opportunities for American entrepreneurs. Like, for example, let's just take one segment of industry, which is a multi-billion-dollar industry in the world, which is gemstones. You see, we have the largest deposits of rubies, some of the largest deposits of rubies, emeralds, aquamarine, tourmaline, topaz, peridot in Pakistan. Now, if they came here and set up small lapidaries in Pakistan, they would earn a lot of money. If they were cutting and polishing gemstones here and selling them in Thailand and other parts of the world, and in the United States, and in Europe and Japan, they could earn a lot of money. I'm just talking of one thing. It would, even if 100 of such entrepreneurs came to Pakistan, each one of them would earn a packet. Just in this one industry I'm talking about. But there are so many others.
Well, I might have to start working on my Arabic.
Urdu. We don't speak Arabic.
You don't speak Arabic, huh?
No, we speak Urdu.
Ah, okay. Is Urdu related to other languages in the region?
Yes. The main languages of Pakistan are Urdu, which everyone speaks, English, which most people speak.
Oh, okay.
Yes, and then in the northwestern frontier, it is Pashto.
Okay.
In Balochistan, it is Balochi. In Sindh, it is Sindhi. In Punjab, it is Punjabi. But the unifying languages are English and Urdu.
Ah, okay. So it probably would be an easy place for people to travel to then if most people speak English, huh?
Yes, exactly.
So you were talking about how many people come to Pakistan and are really surprised by how much they enjoy it and all the beautiful sights. So
yes.
If I were to come visit you, what kind of things would you take a traveler to see and do to show off Pakistan?
Okay, first let's start with Islamabad. About a half an hour to 45-minute drive from Islamabad are the ancient ruins of the city called Taxila, which was the first Buddhist city of the world.
Okay.
And the ruins are there. They were preserved by the British. And it's an incredible sight to visit. Then I would suggest to go to Hunza, which is Hunza, Hunza, which is about an hour's flight from Islamabad. One of probably the most beautiful and picturesque places in the world. It's surrounded by the tallest peaks in the world. It's one of the largest glaciers in the world, is at a very high height. And scenically, it is just unbelievable, And people from all over the world go there. Then I would take you to the ancient city of Lahore, where I talk to you about the famous shrine, which I love. But there you have all the Mughal heritages there, the Mughal gardens that they made, the forts that the Mughals made. The architecture is so fantastic that, it's like you have Taj Mahal in India, in Agra, There are many sites like that in Pakistan. Perhaps not quite as superb as the Taj Mahal, but coming close to it. Coming close. And then you have in Sindh the site of Mohenjo-daro. Mohenjo-daro is one of the oldest civilizations in the world, 10,000 years old. And same kind of sites you have in Balochistan. So, there's a lot to see. Lot to see.
Neat. That sounds really cool. Even like when you were talking about the peaks, I think a lot of times we kind of lump the whole, Muslim Middle Eastern world in like the desert category,
That's
could not be further from the truth.
Could not be further from the truth. You see, Pakistan has the tallest peaks in the world, if you put all of them together. Tallest mountains, superb valleys at that height, as you can imagine, in these areas, mountainous areas.
Yeah.
Then we have the plains. Then we have the deserts. And then we have the huge sea, coastal areas. So we have all terrains, all terrains.
It sounds beautiful.
It is beautiful, yes. It is really beautiful.
Neat. Switching gears a little bit, but one thing that I like to talk about is that, all different cultures around the world, we have reasons to be proud of our cultures and what makes us unique.
Yes.
But at the same time, there's a certain vein that kind of connects all people. We have certain characteristics that we share with people, and you can talk to anybody from around the world and you find these certain values and characteristics that will unite us.
Sure.
And so you were a very successful poet and a playwright earlier in you still are. So I was wondering if you could speak about that a little bit, because that as a poet, that's kind of your job, right? Is to talk about those emotions and those things that are deep inside of us as humans and that connect us.
Yes. I think, in my poetry, of course, a lot of poetry written in the world since it began was love poetry. But then, as the world grew, the poetry became more sociological and political in nature. Events of the world forced it to go in the direction of events that touched the daily lives of people, whether they were economic events, political events, social events, religious events, or events that took place in the universe, the whole universe itself. And poetry then came out of its shell and expanded its horizons. And my poetry basically is concerned about our people, about the nature of poverty in this country, and about love and caring, of course, and about relationships among people, and about the commonality of people in the basic emotions all over the world. The love of a mother for a child is universal, you see. The love of a person for his family is more or less universal. The love to have your human rights is a universal human right, is a universal love, which everyone wants. And poetry ties that together. So poetry, when you write it, of course, it becomes universal in its nature, if you talk about these things.
That's neat. That's beautiful. Well, we've been talking for a long time already. I don't want to take up your whole evening. I'm sure we could talk for a long time. But I have one last question for you.
Yes.
And it just simply, if you had the opportunity to give one message to the whole world, if the whole world would listen to you for one message, what would you give to people?
Love. I would tell the people of the world that it's time to love and care for each other. To love and care for each other. Do not forget the poor and the poorest of the poor. Look after them.
Great. Well, thank you so much, sir. I really appreciate you taking the time to talk to me. And
And I hope we meet when I come next time to Washington, D.C. I'll be there in July.
Uh-huh.
And I'll be delighted if you join me for breakfast, lunch, or dinner, according to your convenience.
Well, I live over on the other side, but I'm always looking for an excuse to go on a motorcycle ride. So maybe I'll ride
So,
out and meet up with you over there.
yes, yes, it'll be a pleasure. And we will talk again. I think this is the beginning of a friendship.
Great. It sounds good to me.
Thank-
Maybe we can meet one day in Pakistan too.
Certainly, it will give me immense pleasure. Thank you for calling.
Well, thank you. And you know, when you first responded to my email,
Yes.
you gave me, I don't know if it's a Muslim greeting, but you know, you said that I can't remember how you put it. You know, may God keep you
Bless
and what's that?
May God bless and protect you and your family.
That's so neat. And you know, you're a spiritual man. I am too. So I wish you the same thing. That God bless you and your family. And thank you so much.
Thank you. My pleasure. Thank you. Goodbye.
Bye bye. There you have it, Irshad from Pakistan. Like I said at the beginning of this video, that conversation fired me up. I had such a good time talking to him. I hope that some of that energy and enthusiasm came through on your end of the computer screen, and hopefully now Pakistan has that kind of a vibrant energy in that face to go along with it. So hopefully you think differently about Pakistan now. I hope you enjoyed it, and stay tuned next time for more interviews from every corner of the world. See you next time.